Watching SABC News, thank you for joining us. With your headlines on the hour, I'm Kirshni Govender. In our top story, family and friends of the late Enoch Mpianzi have paid tribute to him at an emotional funeral service at the Kensington Secondary School in Johannesburg. They say they have lost a good friend and son whom they never thought would leave them so soon. Mpianzi was described as a remarkable young man who had many dreams and plans for the future. The Mpianzi family say they are still struggling to come to terms with his death. They've appealed to authorities to provide the family with answers on what exactly happened that led to their son's death. The Gauteng Department of Education is yet to release a report detailing the circumstances leading to his tragic death. The 13-year-old learner from the Parktown Boys High School drowned 2 weeks ago while on a school orientation camp in Brits in the northwest. Mpianzi will be laid to rest today at the West Park Cemetery.
I stand here today with a broken heart. The loss of a child is something I could never prepare for. Enoch was a remarkable child. Even in death, he left a mark. He had so many dreams and so many plans for the future, but God decided otherwise. Enoch, my son, I love you with all my heart. I'm profoundly proud to have been your father. I will continue to be the best father for your brothers and to seek peace as you wished. I will never let you down. Rest in peace, my son.
Your name and memories will forever live with me, as I will never forget you. You are in a happy place now. No sorrows, no pain. Just enjoy yourself in heaven and watch over us. Today is our final goodbye to you. I never thought that this day would come, but it did. And it came so fast. I don't know how long it will take for me to heal from this horror that we're currently experiencing. But we will lay you to rest. My brother, my best friend, I love you so much, and may your soul rest in peace.
Well, the EFF's national spokesperson, that's Mbuyiseni Ndlozi, has highlighted various struggles faced by learners and the education system. He was speaking at the funeral of Enoch Mpianzi.
All of us chant or send our children to school every day. When they read the hopes of the young man laying in front of us today, he went to this school because they believed it is a better school. Because we still live in a country where there are better schools. And these schools are found in white communities. These schools are under white management. These schools are expensive to enter. They are commodified. That is where proper education is found. If you went to Parktown Boys High, you've got the better chances of getting into Wits University. If you went to Parktown Boys High, you've got the better chances of finding a job after school. Those are the better schools. Because black people in this country are still a neglected people. Black people in this country remain under general conditions of neglect. Many kids wake up every day to cross dangerous rivers just to go and ask for education. In this country, many kids still go to schools where there are pit toilets, and they daily face the danger of dying in those toilets. Because we live under general conditions of neglect.
Well, to talk more about the inequalities that still exist within our schooling system, we're joined via Skype by COSAS Secretary-General Teboho Magafane. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you for your time on the SABC News Desk. You've just heard Mr. Ndlozi's remarks on the deep inequalities that still exist within our schooling systems and broader society. What do you make of those remarks at this juncture?
Thank you very much. We want to thank SABC for giving us or grant us this opportunity to come and express our views as the organization. We agree with Comrade Ndlozi. It's correct that we're still living in bad conditions in our country, especially learners who are not white. We agree with him, and we want to say to the family of young man Enoch, they are not alone at these difficult times. We are with them and will fight justice for Enoch. And those educators who went to a trip with the young boy, they must be arrested because they were ignorant. You can't take young people to a trip, then you dance as educators. It shows mediocrity.
Tell me, what do you think should be done to address these deep inequalities that still exist within the schooling system?
Remember, here we are not challenging anyone. We are speaking about the system of education. The system of education, not the system of our country. If we can have the system of South Africa, or the system that has been created in this country, I think we will not have this thing of equality. We will be equal together. But to show that we have a problem of the system, you still have people in townships who are taking their kids to town, thinking that the former emergency schools, they still have that supremacy of better education, while there's no such. We need to fix the system of our country.
Tell me, just to shift focus for a moment, last year we saw cases where both learners and teachers were attacked while in class. What do you think can be done to make our schools safer learning environments for all our children?
When you speak about safety in our school, it's a societal issue. We need to start from our communities to be safe. Then we'll take it to schools. Remember that it's like a gangsterism. When you see an uncle stealing cars, then you think it's a good idea. We must not condone that. We must condemn it that it's wrong. Hence, I say it's a system. We need to fix system. So you find a learner doing grade 7 at the age of 20. That child system is rejecting him because of our system is not the system that accommodate everyone. We have learners who are not good academically. We need to have moral activities so that those learners, they can feel welcome within the system.
This week also we had some video footage of a bullying incident, another one making the rounds on social media, and it involved a learner from Modiri Secondary School in Garankuwa. I want to garner your initial reaction to this video. What do you make of such bullying incidents, and what are you doing as COSAS to ensure that schools have stringent anti-bullying policies in place to combat such antisocial behavior? Because we only have a small window of opportunity to correct children's behavior before they're let out into society as adults.
I believe South Africa is not a banana republic. There are policies. We need to respect policies. And also as the organization, we are having a program that's called Learn Without Fear. You see, that program component with many programs whereby when we are saying learn without fear, as a child, when you go to school, you must not be intimidated. You must go to school and learn. As a teacher, when you go to school, you must go to school and teach. But remember that we can't achieve that program alone as the organization. We need assistance of our parents, and our parents are ignorant. That's why you find these things in our schools. Our parents are not attending parents' meeting. What they know is to go and attend Stockfest instead of them attending parents' meeting. We urge our parents that we have problems in our schools. They must attend parents' meeting, and they must play a vital role in the education of our brothers and sisters and ourselves.
COSAS Secretary-General there, Mr. Magafane, joining us on the line. Thank you so much for your time on the SABC News channel. Well, for more on the story of the late Enoch Mpianzi, we joined in studio by our reporter, Mahlako Komane. Good afternoon, Ms. Komane, and thank you for your time on the SABC News desk.
Thank you very much.
Well, you're fresh from that funeral, and the most difficult day for friends and family, no doubt.
It was definitely a very difficult day for the Mpianzi family. As you can expect, this was the last born of the family. You know, this was a child, the brother saying this was like our egg. We treated him as the egg of the family, but also saying that school activities need not result in such traumatic news. We sent this child to school on a camp. We chose this particular school because we wanted him to be a better person in society, to contribute to society positively. We wanted him to be a responsible person. But it was the very same people that we entrusted Enoch's lives into that did not act, they felt, in a responsible manner when all this happened at the school camp. But also it was, we also got a letter that was written by Enoch to God in 2019. According to their church tradition, at the end of the year for 3 days they fast, then they would write that letter to God as to what they aspire for, what is it that they want, and also what is it that they don't want happening to them. One of the things that I think was so heartbreaking, he said, I don't want to be stabbed, I don't want to be part of killings, I don't want to be involved in drugs. You know, reading these aspirations of the young man, a peaceful child by nature, his hopes, his aspirations, saying that he wants, he's praying to God that his mom can get a job, that they can have a safer place to live in Johannesburg. A child quite aware of his circumstances, and I think for him to then die just a few weeks later in such a manner, I think it was really, really traumatic and also very, very sad. It was just one of those funerals that were just so heart-wrenching, because you tend to think, really, really, this did not have to happen.
We heard from his father, who was visibly shaken, still struggling to come to terms with his tragic loss, and the family definitely needing closure. How forthcoming have authorities like the police and the education department officials been with the sharing, with the information sharing when it comes to family members and the community?
Well, we know that about a week ago, the MEC for Education in the province, Mr. Lusufi, had that interim report that he had given. This is where the suspension of the principal came out. But I think for the family, for them feeling like they really don't know what happened, and I think when we spoke to them and we did that interview, they had said that from that day, definitely they did not know what, they still hadn't found out or figured out what is it that happened to their child. They don't really know exactly what transpired at that river, that their child was unseen, where we assume there should have been adult supervision there. So it would seem that those are those pieces of the puzzles that are missing, that this family would need to then get. But we also know that I think CIC of the EFF rather, Mr. Julius Malema, had said that he would be giving free legal assistance to this family in the form of your advocates, the very top advocates in the country. And I also just pulled the uncle aside and I said, have you met with the legal team? What's going on? He said, yes, we have met, but we just wanted to bury Enoch and just get over that hurdle. We will then properly meet with them and I suppose give that a proper brief. But also we saw the EFF was also there, represented by the spokesperson.
Yes,
that
Dr. Ndlozi, one of the keynote speakers. What was the thrust of his message, Mahlako?
I think he spoke about the general state of neglect in the country, but I think perhaps focusing it more on schools and the state of education in the country, saying that there's a general state of neglect, speaking about the issue of books not arriving on time, speaking about the issue of children having to cross rivers to access education, putting their lives in danger, pet toilets and the likes. Issues that we
essentially this becomes a human rights issue.
It certainly, it definitely does become a human rights issue. But I just also want to, I think, also add this. I remember speaking to one authority in the sector saying that schools, I think it was actually Minister Mshekha that saying schools are, what happens in schools is a reflection of society. What you find in society, you also find manifesting itself in schools as well. I think this is a multifaceted issue. Yes, government does have a certain responsibility to ensure that children do not have to fear for their lives in the pursuit of education, in getting that. But also, I think when you speak earlier on, I was listening into the interview,
COSAS Secretary-General saying that parents have to take more active responsibility and be more involved in their child's education.
Definitely, there's that level of responsibility that society also has to partake. I mean, if you look at issues like in Diepsloot, there's a school there that's doing exceptionally well in an environment where you're not necessarily expecting that. But when you look at the parents, they're taking it upon themselves to ensure that their children have that opportunity to pursue a better life via education, because we know that education can be quite the equalizer. Many issues in the sector, I think, that need attention, that need to be looked at from the various angles. And I think really it is a societal issue, but also government has a responsibility. We cannot take that away from them. We cannot let them go scot-free.
Just before I let you go, MEC Panyaza Lesufi was saying recently that he wants to visit some of these camps. Has the Education Department weighed in or given us some sort of assessment on what value these camps actually add to a child's curriculum or their learning process?
Well, they didn't give necessarily a breakdown on exactly what is it that actually happens at these camps that is so necessary. But MEC Lesufi actually at the Mpianzi Memorial this week saying that they feel these are an integral part of the education experience for children. But to exactly break down what exactly is it that transpires at these camps that is of such a value. But also, can I just add before you go, both Lesufi at the memorial service and today at the funeral, we heard the EFF spokesperson, Dr. Ndlozi, saying that this also has brought into the spotlight the issue of initiation, be it at initiation schools, be it at actual schools where children are meant to to get an education. Lesufi saying earlier on in the week, Lesufi saying earlier on in the week that where children in schools see something wrong, they should speak out and he would protect them. But I think the many layers of this problem that of these issues that we really need to unpack.
What's the status of the investigation? Any word yet?
Well, MEC Faith Mazibuko came and spoke on behalf of the Education Department at the funeral. The only undertaking that I heard her saying was that they they reiterated this. This has been the same statement that we've been giving time and time again from authorities, was that they will give this family the answers once that investigation has been undertaken. They will scrutinize. I think she said they'll scrutinize every part of that report to ensure that the family receives answers. So we'll definitely have to see how this plays out. Are we going to see a lawsuit against the department? It seemingly will definitely probably go that way, because we understand that somewhere something went wrong.
Exactly. Mahlako, we'll wait to hear from you. Mahlako Komane joining us on the desk this afternoon. Let's move on. Speakers at the funeral service for murdered